Hi, this is Tony DeMeo, and I'd like to introduce you to a new series that we have. It's our Triple Gun podcast series. And each podcast will talk about a different aspect of the triple gun offense. Each one will be different, and it's something you can listen to in your car, on a walk, or whatever, and maybe pick up one coaching point or two in the course of the podcast. Take a listen, and hope you enjoy it.
So why triple gun? Why not Flexbone or whatever? First thing, it's easier to run versus two techniques. How many of you watch Georgia Tech in the bowl games? What kicks their ass every time? Whether it be Iowa, whether it be Utah, whatever. What kicks their ass? Big two techniques, right? Why? Because they single block them. So we're going to double the two techniques. Two, easier to protect the passer. Again, if you look at option teams on TV, whether it be Air Force, Navy, Georgia Tech, great option teams. Army now, what do they have trouble doing when they have to throw the ball? Protecting against the blitz, pass protect. Okay, in the gun, it's easier to pass protect. The other thing, when you run the triple out of the gun, or the triple gun offense, it's hard to distinguish between the run and the pass. Okay, because the linemen are in 2-point stances. The gun triple, the heart of the triple gun offense, is the best core play in football. When I say the best core play, that means it has more answers built in than any play in football. So you don't have to be a great play caller to do this. If you run the gut, like how many you run under center, right? How many run under center, the triple option? I guarantee you this: you check to the 1 for triple and the 3 for midline. Is that true? With the gun triple, it doesn't matter. It's good to the 3 or 1 technique. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. Number 2, how many of you that run under center triple have trouble controlling the backside backer? That you have to have a counter. How many do that? Gun triple, I don't have to call a counter. The cutback is the counter. The flexible dive, under center, you're running a track when you dive back. I mean, that's the way I taught it. You get on a railroad track and run it. There's no cutback. There's no nothing. But having a flexible cut for your running back gives you the advantage, an advantage that you don't have under center. There. But how many of you remember the Vince Lombardi sweep, the Packer sweep? What made that play great was the ability of Horning to cut every which way, right? Isn't that what made the play a great play? It was the flexibility of running to daylight. The run to daylight aspect makes your line better, because they don't have to block and hold people a certain way. The back beats the block. The back makes when you're flexible, the back makes the line better. That's huge. Man, that's huge. That's big. Because again, what did I say? When you're building a better slingshot, what you've got to do is maximize your line. Because that's the hardest thing to get as offensive linemen. You can always get skill. I guarantee you can go to your school and get skill. All you got to do is this: go on the soccer team and get those guys on the soccer team that are real quick little kids and say, look it, play football and people will actually see you play. You'll be a big man on campus. You'll be a star. You can recruit those guys. So you can always get, in 2009, our backfield used to call the Lilliputians, because we had, our quarterback was 5'7". He counted for 89 touchdowns in 3 years. Our 2 slots were 5'6" and 5'8", and our tailback was 5'9". Tiny. All guys that nobody wanted. All guys that we recruited and nobody else did. And we were 4th in the nation in rushing that year. So, we want to make our line better. The other thing that I love about the gun triple is the play changes after the snap. And it also has a built-in pass. Because what the quarterback has the option to do on every run play that we run is take the ball and just throw it out to the wideout. We call that flash. So anytime he gets the snap, if he sees, like on motion, he doesn't call another play. Everybody else runs the triple. But if he sees that back, like say an 8-man front, that backside wheel folding in with the motion, he'll just take the ball, just like a double play, throw it to the wideout. Wideout takes a step, catches the ball, goes one-on-one. So there's a built-in pass in every play. Under center, that can't happen. Ball get batted down. So this is the whys of the triple gun. There's other things. The other thing that I like is putting the quarterback in the shotgun. You don't need as fast a quarterback because he doesn't have to circle the defense. In the shotgun, he's more downhill. Okay? My first year at University of Charleston, our quarterback was so slow he raced a pregnant lady, came in 3rd. So you can do it with a slow quarterback. All right, now formations. I'm going to start with formations, motions, and then go into the gun triple. Let me tell you something. Here's the great thing about formations. You can practice them right now in your gym. Just call out a formation and let them line up so they know them before they even start preseason. You don't have to run a play, but you can line them up in formations in the gym. The first one is shoot, our base, which is just double slot. The quarterback is at 4, and the tailback's at 5.5. Okay, these guys are 1 by 1. The wideouts, the boundary wide receiver is 6 yards from the sideline, and he's 4 yards outside the hash. Basically splitting the numbers in the hash. Okay, so that's shoot. Double slot, we call that shoot. If we want to widen one, we'll take this guy and move him out here. We call that slot. Okay, so what he does is split the difference between the wideout and the tackle. And we use that. Now, shoot is our base, but what we use slot for is to unfold stacks and to put pressure on an 8-man front. So we use that to basically unstack a 7-man front. In other words, it forces somebody to leave the front to go out for them to stay in a 4 shell, or versus an 8-man front to put pressure on the free safety. The third one is trips, and all that is the same exact set. He's still 1 by 1, but now we bring the other half back over. Now, when we go to slot and trips, a lot of times what we'll do is put this tailback in what we call a G formation over the guard, because you don't really need him in the I formation. The tailback can go in the I, or that's our default set right behind the quarterback. Okay, he can go to G, which puts him behind the guards, or he can go to T, which puts him outside behind the tackles, or he can go to an empty set, E. So the tailback can line up in the I, which is most of the time. He's always going to start in the I, but he can offset away from the spread out slot. So in other words, he can, if it's slot right, he'll be to the right. If it's trips right, he'll be to the left. So he can always be the dive back on triple. And then we go to T, maybe on a passing situation or to run the jet sweep. And the reason we get to trips is to isolate X. It also puts an overload to the field. And all these sets are triple friendly. Okay, but what this does is it puts X 1-on-1. So if you line up in trips and they get into 3 deep shell, you know you have the hitch to X all day. Okay, if they don't get into 3 deep shell, that means they've done what? They've unstacked and spread out their front. So it's just another way of doing what slot does, with the idea of isolating X 1-on-1 out here, which we like to do. The next one is that we use are compressed sets. Now notice we haven't made any substitutions. That's another thing I've really kind of gotten into, is that you don't really need to make substitutions. But jack is a compressed set. So it's two tight slots. Okay, now what that does is it gives us the ability to crack the strong safety. To crack the strong safety and give us a new look for the quick game. But really, what I really like about it is, like, if you're facing an 8-man front, you can crack the strong safety and pitch off the corner. Now, again, I don't know how well your opponents prepare for you, but I guarantee you, in all the years I've done this stuff, I've never had a corner play the pitch right. You know, I mean, that's an easy way to give yourself an advantage. Now, if we say wide, if we tag the word wide with any set, what that does is it moves the boundary slot out. So if we said wide jack, he would come out to there. Okay? Now what that does, it allows us to throw the hitch to the slot. And it exchanges assignments. So now X, that puts the corner on your halfback and a safety on X. So wide does a lot. One of the things that triple guys have to deal with all the time is getting their halfbacks the ball. Is that true? How many times does your halfback touch the ball? Well, this gives you a chance to throw either flash or hitch to that guy. You know, just line up, catch, step, throw, bang, and you have put speed in space. When we get in the passing game tomorrow, I'll show you how this formation really busts people's nuts. Okay, now, you can also run triple from here just by motion. Or you can run the jet sweep just by motion. Or you can bring him in and run triple this way. So you're still fine with running triple either way. Okay, but wide, put your X inside and your slot outside. And we can do that with any set that I show you. We have all kinds of like compressed sets that we can do. Besides jack, we can go king, which puts the compressed set to the field and keeps the normal set to the boundary. So that would be king. So it's normal set to the boundary, you still have hitch and that stuff there. But what we like out of king is now we can throw the hitch here and boot back here and get a little different look. But you get a little different look to the field. So here, like against an 8-man front, that still keeps Will out, and you still have triple to the field where you can crack this strong and pitch off the corner. All right, so as I said, you have a number of compressed sets that you can use, and we can do the same thing out of empty or other stuff. If we say bunch, that's another compressed set. It's just trips compressed is what it is. And again, you've isolated X, you still have triple, and you also have flip, and with the ability to seal and crack and pitch off the corner. Okay? So those are all the compressed sets, bunch, king, and jack. The next thing is what I call exotics, and they are unbalanced. The first one is ends. That's what starts it. Ends puts both your wideouts to the same side. If I said wide, what would that do? Who knows? Raise your hand. Yeah, it just moves him here. So again, what does that do? Gives you the hitch to the boundary. But here's the other thing. When you line up in this set, an 8-man front has to do something, because what this guy will do is he'll block the free safety for you. So we get an ends to block the free safety and to pitch to the boundary. So you get a numbers, you can either go to the nub side, or the field side. But by saying wide, now you have the possibility of hitch or flash to the boundary. Now let me tell you something. Here's what happens with an 8-man front. if they go corners over, like say they just match up and go man to man, go corners over, who covers this guy when he comes out wide? They're stuck. It's a simple deal, and it's so easy to do, it's silly. Now, the next thing from there is we'll go receivers. Now, in this formation, X is ineligible in ends. Receivers puts R up on the line and X off the line. R is ineligible, he's eligible. So we can throw the ball out of that. If we say wide receivers, he just comes out. All right? So now it really does look, when you say wide, it really does look like trips. It's really easy, but if you're, how many guys have ever coached defense in the room? But if you're a defensive guy, you've got to figure out who's eligible and who's not eligible before the ball snapped. And then the last one is friends, which is everybody's eligible. We just take everybody off the line like this. That would be friends, which is fake ends. But this would be X, this would be Z, this would be R, and this would be L. And if we said wide friends, he would just come out. Now, that is the same as trips, except we changed personnel without changing personnel in the game. And what that does is isolate your halfback to be a hitch guy, right? And as I said, if he catches 2 or 3 hitches a game, you don't know that he's not going to break one. Let me just give you one more formation. Empty. We call it empty eagle. If we said eagle slot, it would be slot right, right? Or eagle slot right. And the tailback, if it's slot right, would just go to the right. Slot right, he becomes that guy. This is our tailback. If we said trips, eagle trips right, this would be the tailback, and this would be the slot. This would be the right slot, this would be the left slot. We run triple out of empty, where we will bring this guy in motion, he becomes the dive back, and he becomes the pitch back with no motion. But we'll run empty, we'll line up in empty, and the first thing the quarterback will do is see if anybody's uncovered. Then throw that on the snap. We can run triple this way and bring him in motion, bring him around, and so on. So we have a few different things that we can run out of empty. Okay, the motions is the next deal. Now, the first motion is, the first way we do this is no-mo. We'll run the triple most of the time with no motion, just on the snap. So when we run the triple, say out of shoot, he'll come around with no motion and get in pitch phase. Now by doing that, for the defense now they have no tip. It just goes on the snap of the ball. Okay? That's the first way we do it. Now, you can cheat your guys, say, well, we don't have speed, you can cheat your guys back a little bit and in a little tighter to get there. But that's the first way we do it. And let me tell you, it's not like under center because it's a little bit slower play. The gun triple, the triple under center is a fastball. Bam! Ball's off. And everybody's flying. The triple in the gun is more like a cutter. Mariano Rivera cutter. It's a little bit slower, so that gives these guys a little bit more time to get around in pitch phase. The second motion is just jump motion, is when you call this guy in motion, where he goes in 2-step motion and then gets in pitch phase. This is just like wing T motion, and we call that R and L, so this would be L. If this guy went in motion, it'd be R. But we use that when we know that we can take advantage of the defense. So our goal of motion is this. I want to be moving while the defense is still. That's our goal of motion. I want to be moving when the defense is still. You know, you talk about 40-yard dash times. Well, everybody's 40-yard dash time will improve if you get a 5-yard running start. So we want to be moving while the defense is still. Now, we'll start it with jump motion. If they're rolling on motion, then we have an advantage, because then we know where the 3-deep side will be and where we're going to throw the hitch, where we're going to throw flash like that. So we use motion to lure our opponents into reacting to it. Okay, now if I know that you're going to roll with motion or do something with motion, the next one is whirly motion. And that motion is this. He'll go and then come right back to where he was. So if defense is rolling or moving the motion, the next thing we'll come back with is whirly motion. So this would be the left halfback does it its lip, the right halfback does it its rip. Lip and rip. And all he's going to do is start in motion, open up, start in motion, then turn back to the line of scrimmage and come back and carry out his assignment just as though he weren't in motion. Okay, so that's whirly motion. The fourth is jet motion. Jet motion, fake the jet sweep or run the jet sweep. And we'll run jet motion right and then run triple back to the left. That was a good play for us. The next one is rye and lie. And what that does is it puts the R and L backs into the I formation. So if we're in slot, say, and we say lie triple to the left, he would come right here, whirly, and be the pitch man. And that's rye and lie. And the other way that we do this, almost the same thing, is flip motion, which instead of coming here, if we're offset, he'll come here and he'll be the dive back, and the tailback will be the pitch back. And that's flip motion. And we had the rye and lie deal going because we had a couple of really tiny backs that we didn't want running inside. But if you have normal, regular backs, flip is the way to go. And then the last two are flare motion, which all this is bringing him here to run a flare. It's just longer L and R motion. Okay, that's flare motion. And the last one is tail motion, which we ran when we had a non-running quarterback. And it's putting the tailback in motion, like really quick over here. He'd snap the ball and we'd pitch it to him just like, that rocket play that the under center guys run. Only we would pitch it to our tailback and then, we'd seal and stalk. But it was tail motion to the other tackle. Those are the motions we used. Few plays, many ways. And then it's really simple because the idea is this: you win with execution. The less plays, more reps. Okay, the less plays you have, the more you rep them, the better you get. More reps, more execution. More execution, less mistakes. So when you talk about taking the risk out of, remember we talked about, okay, we found a way to equalize things, now we have to take the risk out of them. So to take the risk out of it, instead of adding plays, add ways of doing it with motions and formations. In other words, you teach the gun triple, you have an offense in a running game in itself. And the idea is to dress that pig up a lot of different ways, but it's still the same pig. And that's the whole idea of this. Okay? Any questions so far on motions or formations? Right? Don't be bashful. This, as I said, this is your deal. And
Coach, can you go over rye and lie?
Rye and lie? Okay, what that does, rye and lie brings the R and the L to the I position. So this would be lie. He's going to come right here, deeper, and become a pitch guy, like that. Okay, and then of course we'd fake the tailback. Flip is like this, where he comes in motion, the back is tailback's in a G position, and he's going to come downhill here, and he becomes the pitch guy. This is flip, and this would be lie. Okay? So it's just two different ways to do the same thing, Coach. So you see, those were all the dresses for the pig. Now I'm going to go into the pig.